Welcome to Calculations with Carly, where we aim to make math as easy as pie. I'm your host, Carly Philbrook, an aspiring math teacher. Today, I will be introducing you to a method of multiplying binomials. This episode is ideal for middle school students who understand addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, exponents, and variables. Before we dive in, we need to cover some vocabulary. Please follow along in your notes. Let's start with the definition of a term. A term can be a single number or variable, such as 5 or x. It can also be numbers and variables joined together by division or multiplication, like 1/2 or 4x squared. When numbers and variables are connected by addition and subtraction, they become multiple terms that make up an expression. Unlike an equation does not have an equal sign. For example, 9x plus 3 and 6y minus 4 all divided by 2y plus 7 are expressions. There are special words for expressions with a certain number of terms. For example, when an expression has 2 terms, it's called a binomial. Now that we know what a binomial is, let's learn how to multiply two binomials. The method I'm going to teach you is called foiling. FOIL is a mnemonic or memory device that stands for first, outer, inner, last. But what does this mean? When multiplying binomials, it's very important to make sure that you multiply each term in one binomial by both terms in the other. FOIL gives you a pattern in which to multiply those terms. First means you multiply the first term of the first binomial by the first term in the second binomial. Outer means you multiply the first term of the first binomial by the second term in the second binomial. Inner means you multiply the second term of the first binomial by the first term of the second binomial. And finally, last means you multiply the second term of the first binomial by the second term of the second binomial. This may sound complicated, but in practice it's relatively simple. So let's try an example. I would recommend writing the following problem down and working through it with me. Feel free to pause the podcast if you need more time on any step. The problem we are going to solve is the binomial 4x minus 1 multiplied by the binomial 3x plus 5. As FOIL states, we start by multiplying the first terms of both binomials. In this case, we multiply 4x by 3x. This will give us 12x squared. Now, we multiply the outer terms, 4x and 5, giving us 20x. Next, we multiply the inner terms, -1 and 3x, resulting in -3x. Finally, we multiply the last terms of both binomials together. In this example, we multiply -1 by 5, giving us -5. Now we are left with 12x squared plus 20x minus 3x minus 5. We can simplify this expression by combining like terms. In this case, 20x minus 3x, which is 17x. This gives us a final answer of 12x squared plus 17x minus 5. In this podcast, I hope you learned that foiling is a pattern used to properly multiply two binomials together. The pattern is first, outer, inner, last. Thank you for listening to this episode of Calculations with Carly. This is Carly Philbrook signing off, and just remember that with practice, math can be as easy as pie.